What are the worst parts of the lore of Yandere Simulator? We found several posts asking this question, so we'll be reviewing the responses in this video. Once again, we return to the Psycho family. For those who don't know, the Psycho family is one of two prominent families in Yandere Simulator. They are notably the owners of Academy and Psycho Corp. Anyway, why is the Psycho family featured in this video? There is a lot of lore about them that fans of Yandere Simulator hate. For example, fans do not like the idea of the Psycho family supporting eugenics. In case you don't know, eugenics is, quote, the selection of desired heritable characteristics in order to improve future generations, typically in reference to humans. It's basically the practice of making desirable traits appear within the human population. YouTuber Disturbing History made a really good video explaining the subject, so make sure to go watch that for more context. Anyway, in Yandere Simulator's lore, the founder of Psycho Corp, Saisho Psycho, was a supporter of eugenics. However, he never actually shared this publicly so as to not ruin his reputation. Fans of Yandere Simulator have brought up this piece of lore time and time again when discussing the worst parts of the game's lore. Am I the only one who doesn't like all the eugenic stuff in the Psycho's lore? I'm sure most of us don't like it. It's so unnecessary in a game about a yandere anime girl trying to win over her love interest. It was interesting, but for me, it was just another, ugh, here comes the quirky Psycho lore again. That eugenic stuff seems befitting for an anime-inspired setting though, so I'm not very icky with it. I don't like the Psycho lore in general, just make the game functional. Considering the extremely controversial history of eugenics, it's very understandable as to why fans have taken issue with this piece of Yandere Simulator lore. One other issue we'll discuss regarding the Psycho family involves Megami's backstory. What is this backstory? Megami's father made her kill her pet hamster at 7 years old to prove her loyalty to the family. This tradition was started by Saisho, who did it to Megami's father, who then did it to Megami. Despite resisting, Megami eventually killed her hamster, signing it as a, quote, rite of passage. You can see why many fans of Yandere Simulator do not like this piece of lore. Would work if Yandere Dev wasn't so fixated in animal deaths as a way to do cheap traumatic situations. Why does Yandev have to kill an animal to make a character deep? Cause he doesn't know how to write an actual story. I want to feel bad about it, but the only thing that comes to my mind is how Megami is Walmart's Wednesday. Cringe, animal abuse isn't a plot point and it's very overused in this gross ass game. Should I make a separate video about why fans don't like the Psycho family? Let me know in the comments below. Another controversial part of Yandere Simulator's lore is the backstory of Witness-chan. In case you don't know, Yui Tunesu, also known as Witness-chan, is one of the characters found in 1980s mode. She first appeared in the game as a character named Witness-chan, but was removed for a while before reappearing as a maid, then re-added into 1980s mode. Anyway, she had a backstory that proved very controversial among fans of Yandere Simulator. What was this backstory? Prepare your ears. Near the end of the Cold War, aka 1989, some incidents happened in Witness-chan's classroom, where random girls would find some white liquid on their belongings. You probably know what kind of white liquid this is. Witness-chan realized that some male student was doing this gross behavior. She was friends with a boy who confessed to the class that he was behind those incidents. This led to him being bullied for the remainder of the school year. Sometime after graduating high school, Witness-chan found out that the boy was being blackmailed into committing these acts. Why? The girl hated some of her classmates and forced the boy to jizz all over their items. He ended up confessing to free himself from the blackmail. Needless to say, Witness-chan felt guilty for this. She believed she would have figured everything out if she had paid more attention to her surroundings. This incident is the reason why Witness-chan is nosy as fuck. After reading all of this, it becomes very obvious why this backstory was extremely controversial among fans of Yandere Simulator. No, because that shit was so unnecessary. Why is the first idea he thinks of when asked why is Yui so paranoid have to do with jizz? My honest reaction to reading that. Please excuse me while I gouge out my eyeballs. Doki Doki Literature Club character using raid. Yeah, I don't really know what to say for that one. The story doesn't end there though. It was revealed that this plotline was stolen from a manga titled Onani Master Kurosawa, I think. Surprisingly, this is not a hentai manga. So, on top of being very disgusting, Witness-chan's backstory wasn't even original. Thankfully, this is no longer Witness-chan's backstory. She got a new one later. Still, Witness-chan's original backstory proved to be very controversial among fans of Yandere Simulator. Another very controversial part of Yandere Simulator's lore concerns one of the rivals, specifically Mita Rana. She is the 7th of the 10 rivals in the game, meaning she appears during the 7th week of school. Anyway, Mita has proven to be the most controversial rival of Yandere Simulator. Many videos and posts discuss why she is horrible and should not be in the game. Explanation of Mita's predatory behavior. In her character sheet, it states that her hobby is seducing schoolboys and that once she goes to Academia High School, she will quickly begin hunting for new prey and senpai will catch her attention. The glorification of Mita's predatory behavior. Mita Rana's revealing character design, sensual dialogue, and overall presentation are portrayed as sexy and attractive in Yandere Simulator, but it's very disturbing to do this to an adult who hits on teenage boys. Mita Rana's lack of personality. Mita Rana's bio, unlike Osana's, does not give out any useful information that explains her behavior. The only thing you can find is the repetitive amount of times it is stated that Mita Rana likes teenage boys, making her bio just a dry dessert of pedophilia. It becomes evident as to why everyone hates the concept of Mita Rana. Her character is borderline predatory and extremely inappropriate for a game like Yandere Simulator, let alone most games in general. It becomes even worse when you remember that all of the students at Academia are barely 18, with some likely being underage. That puts into perspective how bad Mita Rana's character is. Due to how creepy Mita's character is, fans have created their own rewrites to make her not as bad of a character. Some of them involve giving her a new personality and backstory, while others have made it so her true intentions are more obvious. I would make it more obvious that she is grooming such manipulating senpai and not a love interest. The concept of her being a predator is one that I like, since it's not something done often, and with the right mindset can be done amazingly, as long as she is considered that. Knowing Pedo Dev, she will always be just a love interest, which shows more about him than anyone else. Make her a student that tutors instead of being a pervert. Make her not an actual threat but still have Ayano think she is. Like maybe Mita has to tutor Taro and they form a kind of mother-son type relationship, but Ayano sees it as Mita trying to manipulate him. Paint her as a villain. Our main goal is to eliminate her. Maybe we also have to protect Samson from the evil teacher. Who the hell is Samson? All in all, Mita Rana is definitely one of the most problematic characters within Yandere Simulator. Most fans dislike her as a whole, with her backstory and personality being a clear example of why. One more controversial part of Yandere Simulator's lore has to do with the male students at Academy. Supposedly, all of the male students at Academy buy panty shots from InfoChan. Yeah, that's the piece of lore. According to the game's lore, every male student at Academy participates in this kind of behavior. This piece of lore makes no sense, considering how not every male student is the type of person to do that. Fans have shared their complaints about this piece of Yandere Simulator lore. In fact, when asked about the most fucked up lore within Yandere Simulator, this was the top complaint. Everything, to be honest, especially the one about all boys supposedly being perverts purchasing panty shots from InfoChan. It doesn't even make sense for some of the boys to be doing that because some don't care or don't like it, or some don't believe InfoChan is real. It literally makes no sense at all. He's really trying to tell me that Budo of all people buys panty shots? The martial arts club leader who likes to set a good example? Nah. This has gotta be his way of deterring people from shipping Ayano with non-senpai boys. The mechanic of panty shots is controversial in its own right, but involving the male students of Academy just brings this piece of lore to a whole new level of problematic. Like we said earlier, not every male character has the personality to do something like this. I know, right? Other students like Kazu, Otohiko, and Geiju definitely seem like they would never. So I wouldn't even buy it for a second, especially considering how unrealistic it would be for all boys to be perverts. Same for Ryoto and the leader of the photography club, just seems completely out of character for them. Or Tsukibi Dooby-Doo. I forgot about that stupid ass name. It makes sense why fans would have a massive problem with this piece of lore. It just doesn't make sense when one thinks about it. How would you change this piece of Yandere Simulator lore? Let us know in the comments below. If there's anything to be learned from this video, it's that the lore of Yandere Simulator is very problematic and doesn't make sense. We've already made several videos discussing the problems with the game's lore, so make sure to go watch them. Overall, Yandere Simulator needs to have a better and more logical story for fans to become more invested in the game. If you have any complaints about Yandere Simulator's lore, please leave them in the comments below. We might make more videos talking about this subject. With that being said, feel free to watch this video next.